So guys, I saw this post and I was tagged by a few people in it. So I'm kind of looking shocked at the comments since nobody actually took the time to try and figure out what's happening in this video. So let's start with the initial premise with what Alois said. Yesterday I laned against Rune and I won late without him even making a single mistake. Wow. Just from this, you know it's going to be roughy toughy. It's going to be hard to debunk, right? People complain that top lane is a broken role, whilst I agree that the items and champions can be extremely oppressive and broken. I want to take you guys through my thoughts why I believe that top lane is in general has simply less impact than other roles. It's going to be hilarious, by the way. Unless you are versing an opponent that is inferior to you, you are mostly going to be reliant on matchup and jungle mercy instead of just 1v1 laning. Again, hilarious. While this is also true for other roles, as a top lane on an island, you don't get any other options in the game and just spectating for 20 minutes. So, a lot of things being said here. So, already you can tell he's heavily biased against his lane, and he probably doesn't understand why the junglers choose to make the decisions they do this game. So let's go and hear some of the things he say, starting from the very beginning.
Welcome everybody. I want to talk about top lane and why I feel like I believe that top
Increase the volume. Hope this is okay.
lane is not as broken as people make it out to be. Now, disclaimer I want to make is I think top lane champions are extremely strong. I think top lane bruiser items are extremely strong as well. And I think the role in itself, if you get ahead as a top laner, is very hard to deal with. And
okay, we're done. Why are we even reacting further from this? In all honesty, why are we even talking further about this? Well, we are talking further about this because top laners don't seem to understand this is an issue for the rest of the people. This is an issue for everyone else. But let's see further what Alois has to say.
I agree with. However, I feel like to get to that point, especially the higher elo you go, or you play against opponents that match your skill, the less prevalent this will be, or the less options you have, and that's why I feel like the role compared to other roles has so much less impact. For example, as a jungler,
the thing is, what people don't seem to understand, that everyone can play good their role. Everyone can perform on their role. Everyone can play slightly better than the opponent. What ends up happening in this game is that, believe it or not, these champions fight. Did you guys know champions fight in League of Legends? I guess you guys didn't. A lot of frustration comes when you perform better than the opponent on your role, and while you perform better than the opponent on your role, someone who's performing better than theirs opponent, right, is going to beat you no matter what. And that's the issue with top lane. So, top laners are the strongest when it comes to snowballing after they win their lane 1v1. The issue Alois isn't expressing here is that nobody from the enemy team will be able to stop him. But let's see further what he's going to do.
Impact every role that you have, and I want to show you guys some concepts in this game that lead to I'm playing against Rune this game, him losing the lane without making a single mistake.
Okay, him not making a single mistake. You could argue him taking Ignite and flipping it is a mistake. You could argue him not playing Grasp this game is a mistake. You could argue that him picking Camille this game is a mistake. Like, look at his team. He needs to provide a frontline tanky champion. Him not having Malphite or Ornn or Gnar is already a mistake, bro. What do you mean? I don't know the pick order. If he blind pick Camille, it's even worse. It's already a mistake as a Camille. He already put himself in a position where he's going to have a bad matchup against you, bro. It's already a mistake. I already named a few mistakes that you don't even take into account.
So, if I'm playing here,
Drutu doesn't play tanks well, then that's an issue.
So a few things to look at, right? My jungler is pathing from bot into top.
By the way, in general, him taking Conqueror Ignite is good sometimes, but it's good if you can get away with it. It's good if you can get value from it. If you can get value from it, then it's bad. It's simple.
And Lilia is most likely clearing from top to bot, right?
Okay.
So that means that Drutud right now is weak side, and as a result of that, he doesn't want to play too aggressive in the lane. In the sense that if he...
Okay, so I don't know what's the... I wish I knew the pick order of this game. I might search for it later on, but if he blind pick Camille, it's a mistake. If he pick Camille with his team, it's also a mistake. So why isn't he taking it into account? He might be a weak side though.
He gets priority and he ends up laning around here at the 3-minute mark. He could be ganked behind him. He's playing Flash Ignite and his lane is pretty much over. So simply, just because how the junglers are already pathing in the early game, he is forced to play more in a passive way in the first 4 minutes of the game, which are arguably also the most important in the lane.
That's also true. The 4 minutes in... I mean, not necessarily the 4 minutes in... I would say rather... the first 2 or 3 jungle clears, so that would end up around maybe minute 6. But yeah, around that, those are the most important parts of the game, and those are usually the parts that decide the result of the entire game, alongside with the champion picks, with summoner spells and so on. Like, everything after that gets into its own flow. So I kind of agree. By the way, that's why I think, personally, Ghost, Dark Harvest Jhin, First Strike Syndra, TP on mid lane, all of these are bad. But let's see how these systems interact with the gameplay.
Phase, by the way. So, just in terms of mindset and the first concept here, just because of the early jungle pathing that is playing out, he has to basically play a lot safer.
Okay, so what do you mean by this?
In the early game, right? So,
are you criticizing your jungler for starting Raptors?
So it's here we're just laning, and Lily.
Because what does he mean by this? He is just complaining that because Lilia has to start at Raptors, Drutut will lose the lane? So what does that imply? He implies that his champion is already in a bad spot, and without jungle, he will lose. But has he taken into account that the jungler already has shitty lanes? If he starts top and pass towards bot, guess what? His bot lane will still lose. If he starts bot lane and he passes towards top, his lane will still lose. He has only bad options this game, but let's go further.
Rep buff into Krugs into... Raptors Krugs rep buff, and then she's going to path into bot, right? And whereas Kha'Zix is just full clearing into top. Okay, so again, if I were to lose half my HP, and he were to lose half his HP, it is beneficial for me simply because I'm strong side, right? I will have my jungler on top side, he will not. So he is not allowed to take trades. That's the first concept I want to talk about. So the first clear of junglers already impacts so much how top laners can play in the early.
I agree. And I also think due to that, you shouldn't gank top lane. But that's going 3 steps ahead of that.
The game. Of course, this counts for every lane, but you'll see the points that I'm going to make. So here, even on weak side, he's played it very well here. Outspaced me, got the W off, so the early trades went in his favor, but still doesn't matter too much because I have the priority, and I'm able to just play the lane out as is, right? So what I'm doing here, without going too in-depth, is I'm just doing a 4th wave crash, and I'll talk about it later, why I do the 4th wave crash here in the...
He basically wants to do that in order to reset successfully, or just set up a bounce so that Kha'Zix can gank at level 4, I think.
This game, so I'm slow pushing this wave, waiting for this wave to come, and I'll do my 4th wave crash, right?
So game is over. Bot lane lost.
And now the first time we see Lilia on the map, right here, is at 250, which is already extreme.
So he's pointing Lilia being here on the map as a mistake. But I want you guys to look at the lane state. I want you guys to look at the team comp overall. Shouldn't Lilia try and zone Orianna, who's a better champion than Syndra? who snowballs harder, who can also, if she plays aggressively, can take a few trades and punish Syndra. Look at where the cannon is. Look at those 3 minions. Orianna is here in a position where she could potentially die or lose a summoner spell. Is he making an argument that the jungler shouldn't punish the mid laner? Is that what he's doing? Because if you are going to ask the mid laner, he wants to get a lead, he wants to be helped, because he's playing Syndra, a useless, no-pressure early game champion that gets outscaled by almost every single champion, and I'm tired of people pretending this is not true.
Late, as you can see, Kha'Zix.
By the way, it's a first strike Syndra with teleport. She only has her E, she has very little damage, and she hasn't gotten her slenders or whatever. I don't even know what's her passive called. She doesn't have upgrades on her abilities. Will she manage to get upgrade to splinters? I'm sorry. Will she manage to upgrade her abilities by the end of the game? No, because as Alois said, only the few minutes of the game matter. And at this minute in the game, look at Lilia's position. She already knows, look at the wave state. She already knows if she will full clear from top to bot lane, the bot lane is already lost. It's already doomed for her. She has nothing to do but get a level. But here, her getting a level will do nothing towards the income of the game. The game has already been decided because bot lane lost, and they lost because Jhin is a moron with Ghost over heal exhaust most likely. They lost in 2v2 raw stats, and now because of this, the jungler, Lilia, has no way to impact bot lane. If you'll go there, the way will be just in an awkward position in tower, he'll do nothing to impact it. At worst, if Kha'Zix full clears from that position, he will have a reset where he goes bot, he can set up a gank with Nautilus, and he will kill Sona again. So he's just screwed by the fact that he has a Sona with Jhin, Ghost, and Dark Harvest. So why is he flaming Lilia for trying to zone out Orianna, set up a potential gank with a useless champion? Why is he not flaming the useless comp with Syndra, the useless Jhin with Ghost, instead of heal or exhaust trying to win a 2v2 at least, or the Sona pick in general?
Is already done 4 camps.
He's hyper-focusing on jungler.
We see Lilia on the map for the first time, right? And everybody can verify right now that she's done these 3 camps. We all had a ward here, and that she is ganking mid right here. Perfect. So everybody knows also right now that Lilia, after doing this mid gank, will be going towards her bot side, right? So I'm just doing the slow push. And then after wave number 4, I'm going to just crash this, and I'm going to recall. I could have some other options too. I could, for example, look to Proxy this wave, because I'm revving with a lot of wave clear in the early game, but however, this game, I just decided to...
He just takes this for granted, by the way. I could just farm between 2 towers, bros. My role is weak. I could just farm between 2 towers, because there's nobody to stop me, I'm stronger than everyone else, and I could just farm between 2 towers. He just says it like that, and doesn't see an issue with that fact. Can Jhin proxy into 2 towers? Can Samira do that? Can Orianna go into 2 towers to do that? Can Syndra do that? No! He just takes that for granted. You can just go in between 2 towers and farm. No issue here.
And play for the bounce because Lilia is already delayed and Kha'Zix is still topside, right? So bear the fact in mind, just remember, right? So Rune played this early game really well.
I would add, by the way, he did nothing special. There's nothing special Drutu did here that anyone else couldn't. He just farmed, played safe, didn't take any risk. So, how can a diamond player not do the same? They just bounced waves. And because he bounced waves, he is now level 4, higher than everyone else. His jungler is level 3, his Syndra is level 3, his bot lane is level 3, level 2, and he's still further ahead in levels than anyone else in the team. So just by bouncing waves, he's one level higher.
Multiple things. He was playing weak side. He didn't look for too many equal health trades, right? So it's beneficial for him. He stayed high HP. He's farmed well. He traded well. So now he's...
I would also argue, if he's going to play Conqueror Ignite, knowing his weak side and knowing that this would happen no matter what, he could just flip the game early. Because we already saw Lilia was already kinda looking forward to break the tempo. As in, she knew her bot lane lost, and instead of doing a full clear, she tried to gank early. If Camille would have taken risky trades and make herself in a position where she was low, but the Riven was also low, both Lilia and Kha'Zix would have considered ganking top, and at least with that, one of them could have ganked the top lane with a kill. Because of this, he just put himself in a position where he won't lose immediately, but he will lose slower.
He's also able to play out this bounce. Keep in mind he's playing with Flash Ignite, right? So now he should be in an advantageous position simply because he had to play safe in the early game. But now on this bounce, he will hit level 5 faster than I do. And as a result of that, he's able to play more aggressive here, right?
So what just happened here is that he's in a position where he got another item. Sure, he has another level.
However,
and Kha'Zix has nothing to do here, by the way.
The problem comes when his jungler is still bot side.
Okay, his jungler is still bot side, while ignoring that he helped mid gain somewhat of a lead. And we might even I don't see what happened with Syndra, but do you guys think the impact he had early would have resulted to Syndra killing Ori? Maybe it did. We don't even see on the map. But what is he implying? If, let's say, Lilia did a full clear, where would Lilia be at this point? She would probably be around here, not even around top. Even if she pathed towards top straight up, she wouldn't even be able to reach where the wave is right now.
At this point of the game, and Kha'Zix right now, so what should happen usually around the 4-minute timer is Lilia would have cleared into bot, right? Full cleared into bot. Scuttle spawns 330, she takes the Scuttle, maybe looks for a gank bot.
Oh, by the way, regarding this, I don't know if I have a tweet. Where is it? I think I do. I think I saved it for this video. Literally, the best thing you can do this patch on jungle is nothing. Don't try to gank, don't try to do objectives, don't try to counter gank, don't even try to hold waves that much. Just clear your camps or spawn, otherwise you are 3 levels behind top and auto lose. Crazy, huh? So, he's actually flaming Lilia for a game design issue now that he's under leveled and he cannot do anything regarding Riven because he, again, tried to work with what he has. You guys know, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say Drutut is the main star, the main MVP, he is the main anime character, right? Let's say Nervarian plays or Lilia plays around that guy. How does he do it? Well, if he tries to do free camp top into gank top, Riven will just Q backwards or E backwards and nothing happens. Then Kha'Zix is pathing normally top. But the result of that, if he doesn't get a kill, is that Kha'Zix is level 4. And by Kha'Zix being level 4, he will just be stomped 1v1 in the jungle. Let's say he doesn't start top side and he starts bot lane. What's the result of that? Well, he starts bot lane on blue buff. He forces his bot lane to leash. If he forces his bot lane to leash, Sona will die to a level 2 crash. Level 2 hook from Nautilus because they won't get prio, or they risk getting dove because Kha'Zix can just do the same thing, take free camps, and then either dive bot if the HP is low enough for the support, since we know Jhin has Ghost, doesn't have heal or exhaust, and we know Sona has Ignite. Or, here's the neat part. If Lilia starts bot side in order to path towards top lane, Lilia will die in her jungle to a level 3 invade from Kha'Zix. That's a possibility. So what the fuck is Lilia supposed to do this game? Stick her finger in her ass and say, please, please, let me live, let me get some elo. What can she do? She has no options, but he's hyper-focused on jungler, he's hyper-focused on this Lilia, while he's the issue, bros. He's 1v9, he's 1v2, he's higher level than everyone else, and he doesn't see that an issue, bro. What did he do so special that he's 1v2? He's just artificially inflated by experience, top lane buffs, Riven buffs, and he says, it's probably Lilia's fault for him being that strong.
He looks for a gank mid, recalls, and comes back into top side. Similarly here, how the Kazakhs should recall and go back to his respawning bot side camps, right? So Lilia should recall, go top side, Kazakh should recall, go bot side, and then on this bounce, it should be very hard for me to play.
So okay, they both do that. Where's the jungle impact then, bro? They literally just farmed. And even if they do that, you're already stronger than Camille.
Because Lilia should be here.
Do you even take into account potential clears? I remind you guys, Lilia cannot start bot side to get a stronger leash. If she does that, Sona, Jhin will die. They straight up die. They either die straight up to V2 or they die to a level 3 dive. What's the option? So already by that, Kazakhs will have a higher tempo in clear over Lilia.
Here, Kazakh should be bot side.
I would argue Lilia had the best decision making this game because there was nothing to do.
Right, so keep in mind, Rune had to play safe.
What if Lilia starts bot leashless? Then she dies at her red buff by level 3 invade. The way you can know Lilia started blue side, no, not blue side. Lilia started at her blue. You have your mid laner ward her raptors, and with that information as a Kha'Zix, you should know you can kill her at the red.
In the first 4 waves, now going forward here.
Riven was first pick on blue side and Camille was 5th pick on red side? Okay, so Drutu lost the game alone. Why? What the fuck is wrong? Why are we even watching this? He picked Camille, he went with these runes, he went in this situation, he accepted he will be in this spot, he didn't pick a tank, he didn't try anything. Why are we even watching this? Why are we even watching this?
I'm supposed to play more safe, right? With the jungle pathing, because you see here these camps are respawning, these camps are respawning. However, Lilia peeks her head out here again, and again I verified Lilia's position with only 22 CS. So she is missing 2 camps still because a full clear.
Okay, so again, what does he imply? We already explained why Lilia is in this position. It's because of bot lane dying to V2. It's because of mid lane having a lead. Her 2 camps lost, by the way, are transitioned into this kill on Syndra and the CS difference on Syndra.
Would be 28 CS. She has 2 alt CS, maybe because she took a minion here or like a ward somewhere. So a full clear is 28 CS. So right here with Lilia peeking bot side with 20.
Actually, it's 24 CS. 28 CS, it's actually if you get Scuttle, which you can't always get because sometimes you lose lanes to V2 or 1v1. And then you don't have Prime, but sure.
Yes, I know
I'm just being a nerd here.
Still has to
pointless.
Like 2 bot side camps before she would ever come back top. Kazakh spots this too, so Kazakh looks for a gank here, which is already extremely good for me. So even this, on this bounce where he is supposed to...
Okay, so is this why Lilia deserved to lose? Because Kha'Zix threw himself into a full wave of minions with cannon, which resulted in nothing?
To finally be able to play the game.
Well, actually, she lost some HP, and because of... Bro, it's already a bad matchup. It's already a bad matchup. It's already a bad matchup. Him being here, doing this, enables a potential dragon from Lilia, if she wants to do it, if she could do it. Unfortunately, Lilia isn't as good as doing dragon. Lilia, from this point, can at least catch up the experience. It's already a bad matchup. I don't know how else to put it. It's already pointless. Even if Lilia is there, by the time she gets there, she will probably be level 4 into level 6 or level 5 at best case scenario into level 6 from Riven. Top lane experience is busted. It's already too much experience. What can Lilia do?
He still cannot play out.
Is that why the jungle gap happened? Because he threw himself randomly to break Camille's passive? That's why he's the better jungler?
The game, right? Alright. Lilia is clearing her bot side camps now, very standard. But I have the item lead now. I have sustain lead. He's low on mana. The wave is...
Okay, so again, is this a jungle matchup or you being stronger in top?
Pushing towards me, and that is the result of the 4th wave crash. To explain that a little...
Yes, you did that. You caused that. You did that.
A bit more in depth too, is here after I've crashed the wave, right? And the wave is going to be in this position. Ultimately, his next minion wave is always going to arrive faster. Thus, the wave will push back into me, and this is forced, right? After I've done the 4-5 crash and I walk back into lane, I've lost two melee minions here of EXP, but the wave is pushing towards me.
Yes, you'll have lead and you'll get level 6 faster if you play this well, or at least you will set up this gank, as we saw, for Kha'Zix.
He is forced to play out this bounce, right? Because I did the 4-5 crash. But again, usually, this is a good position for him because his jungler should be here. In fact, it's still reversed. He's still going to play out the game, so he loses half his HP, loses mana, and now you see...
He also went to take another trade here. He also wouldn't have taken this trade if he just backed away. Sure, you could argue he still lose HP, but he lost more HP than normal. But I am asking you, what is the play from Lilia? Let's say, okay, this was Kha'Zix for throwing himself into a wave and wasting time in not having a direct result is the absolute turbo jungle gap. What is Lilia supposed to do, bro? Is he supposed to come and shove the lane? Oh, really? So what happens if Riven is level 6 afterwards from this? Does she 1v2 them? Oh! Do they lose 2v2 if Kha'Zix decides to do the same? Oh! So that could happen, right?
He is basically impossible to play out this bounce for him. It's really hard for him, right?
Yes!
Far,
that's the matchup!
I would still argue he's made 0 mistakes. But you see
No!
already where this...
I already told you what mistakes he made. You don't want to accept them because you don't see them as mistakes. Him picking Camille with this setup is already a mistake.
This is leading to for his laning phase, right? Now, Lilia takes her 2 bot side camps.
Like, honestly, just look at their comp. Why didn't he pick a tank? How are they supposed to play as a team? Think about it, seriously. Let's say all of this doesn't happen. How are they supposed to play as a team, bros? Where's their engage? Does Sona flash ult, or how does this work?
Which she should. And then, right now, you see Camille pretty much cannot play out the game. And this is not because he made a single mistake. This is all because of jungle interaction, right?
No. No. This is all because top lane experience is inflated and you have a better matchup.
Alright. I would also, to talk about the matchup, it's pretty much like it's a skill matchup in the early game. Okay?
I don't know, bro. Seems kind of a Riven-sided matchup.
Here he tries to push it out, but I'm simply more healthy, right? I push it.
0 mistakes, by the way.
Punish
0 mistakes. Lost his entire mana pool, has no HP, gets zoned out.
A small trade, and now he's basically forced to recall. But I'm going to hard push, so if he recalls, he's going to lose a full cannon wave. I'm perhaps going to play this.
Do you guys see why I get so frustrated by these disingenuous arguments?
As well, so he decides to stay. But even that option is bad for him. Now, another tiny detail here, or a big detail rather, is that Lilia shows herself for the 3rd time on the map here. So after taking her camps, she again shows here on the map and even shows mid. So
do you guys want to know why she did that? It's because her support is getting gapped. So she has to at least show herself in order to prevent Nautilus and Orianna potentially diving Syndra. She probably has no vision of Kha'Zix. I'm not sure. Honestly, I haven't watched. But she could also take into account Kha'Zix is there as well. What happens if she loses her only lane that's relatively healthy? Well, what then?
So at 5 minutes, Lilia still shown bot side, hasn't recalled yet, so I still know the job.
We already know why she didn't recall. It's because she couldn't full clear naturally, because she then has no opening. Her bot lane already lost. Best thing she could do is invest into a worthless Syndra pick.
Tempo, right? And as a result of this,
that will not be able to scale this game. Will be a first strike 80 gold value. Honestly, okay. I don't know where to find this game. I think I downloaded this game to have a closer look what happened. I think this is how I found the game. It's supposed to be a win. This one. It's this one. Let's watch the replay. Let's watch the replay. I want you guys to see by the end of the game which is minute 17, by the way, the entire value of TP first strike for Syndra. She managed to get 250 gold. That's less than a kill, bros. If she had an early game setup on that potential gank from what's her name? Lilia, she might have gotten an entire kill, which is worth more than her entire rune, right? Let's see at other relevant points of the game. This is 5-2, right? You might argue this is already game over. She's already lost the game. How much gold does she have now? Oh, 60. Cool. So she has 60 gold from first strike. My issue is, why does she go scaling runes when you don't get to scale? It's not, there's no such thing as scaling if you lose early, as you see this game. And this will happen constantly, bros. Always, constantly. It will always happen. The game arguably is already over. It has 60 gold of runes. She has 60 damage dealt. Now, obviously with Electrocute, she won't have astronomically high numbers. But she might have enough to create a kill if you commit all the way to it. And that's enough to snowball or at least try and stall. Her entire plan of scaling means nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. Her TP, this game, was used only once to get back into the shortest lane in the game, where Lilia is always hovering, that she could at least hold and hopefully take experience. Now, this Riven is out of control. Kha'Zix can get out of control. We don't have an Ignite. We don't have Exhaust because we have Ghost on AD carry to run away from fight. And while we're here, let's address this for the millionth time. The reason you go Exhaust or heal on AD carry, you either go heal to protect your support early in straight up damage to V2, or you go Exhaust to prevent potential dives, to prevent potential all-ins from Samira. And I know the morons that will say, well, Samira has cleanse, guys. Well, if she has cleanse, you fucking moron. At best, you traded spells 1-for-1, but at least you still reduced initial damage because she is not going to be faker with IQ enhance and cleanse up straight up as she sees the particles of exhaust on her screen. She will still have initial burst damage reduced, and on top of that, you still can fight in mid game and potentially exhaust Riven, who will not have a cleanse. Exhausting Riven reduces 40% of the damage. I think it's 45. I don't even have the numbers of exhaust. I think it's 40 or 35. I want to say it's 45 reduced damage. And from that, if you, let's say, use Ghost, right? You get away from the fight. It's 45, right? Yeah, it's 45. You get away from the fight, but Riven is still in the fight, bro. Riven is not going to hit you as a Jhin, but he's going to hit someone else. He might hit Sona. What does that do? Well, it enables Riven to have her Conqueror stacks. It enables Riven to still stay in the fight. Okay, you're not going to die, but the rest of your team will die. So if the rest of your team dies, you already lost the fight, who cares? So it's better to take some damage in the fight as an AD carry, but for the overall, the Riven to have reduced damage. That's why getting Ghost is one of the worst things that has happened in the game. Screw all the people who think Ghost is a viable spell on AD carry. You're all bad at the game. Anyway, I would also say that Sona could also take heal or exhaust here, since she's weak side. But Ghost is totally useless, while at least Ignite can prevent a Riven or Kha'Zix from diving or all-inning for no reason. Let's get back to the video.
I'm also still allowed to play aggressive here. Lilia should have already been topside again. And now this leads to me just, being in this much of a good position. And now I cancel space with Ignite as well. He's forced to recall because I'm getting at level 6 on this wave. He knows that.
Why are you level 6? Why is Camille level 6? Look at the levels on everyone else on the map, guys. So, his argument is top lane isn't broken because Camille cannot beat the 1v9 top lane from the enemy team. Do you guys understand? Let's say if you're the Syndra. Syndra didn't have a really bad game, right? Why is she level 5 over level 6? She's, while mid lane being the second role in experience. If Kha'Zix is so good at the game, why does he still lose 1v1 to Camille, by the way? If Kha'Zix tries to 1v1 Camille at this point, he will still lose. To a potential losing Camille, right? That is why people say top lane is broken. Because if you win the matchup, you're already unstoppable. Nobody can kill you. And in this game, guess what? You're not going to have challenger games every single game. You're not going to have these potential 1v9s every single game, close matchups and so on. You'll just end up being in a position where your champion has to fight another champion. And if your champion is artificially inflated by stats, you will win by default. And what did you do so special? You just stayed on lane and farmed. You just stayed on lane and farmed. And you gained more experience, you gained more levels, and the only good thing you did was pushing one wave. Do you think pushing one wave should grant you the 1v9 potential? Do you think crashing the wave in tower grants you 1v9 godlike potential? How do you think that's fair? You're only 1v9 because you have extra experience. Imagine if you are level 4. Imagine if you are level 5. Potentially, if that were the case, the jungler could do something about it. The mid laner could do something about it. What can they do now? Oh, nothing. Jungle gap, I guess.
So as an end result of all of this right now, I'm going to be...
Yeah, you're just going to farm between two towers. And again, he takes it for granted. Oh, it's okay. Well, of course I can farm between two towers. Because, what's her name? Lilia cannot kill me. Therefore, top lane is weak. Do you guys see how counterintuitive this is? What other role can farm between two towers?
20 CS up and the plate. However, Drew
top lane, she showed here because she has to farm the camps and, please don't stop me, bro.
This was all jungle interaction, right? And this is my issue with a top laner or the top lane experience. And at least now we're playing a skill matchup, right? Imagine instead of Riven Kha'Zix, he was playing against, I don't know.
Yes, he should have picked a tank.
Something like Rum.
And he would have still lost, by the way, because Riven is a broken champion. But at least with a tank, he could at least give up on his lane and group for objectives. Now, in this particular game, their draft is so bad that no matter what could have happened, he could have this could have been Zeus instead of Camille, right? Or instead of Drutut. Nothing would have changed. Potentially Zeus would have understood his predicament and he might have flipped level 1 to level 2 traits. That's probably the only difference. He might have enabled a potential flip gank from Lilia at level 3 since they both play Ignite, right? But Drutut did nothing but farm. And if he did nothing but farm, well, guess what? You are stronger than him, therefore you win. Top lane weak.
Jarvan, right? A really strong early game, ganking jungler, and a super hard counter matchup. How do you play the game in those scenarios, right? It's all reliant in a way on jungler. So now, to top it all off, on this bounce here, right? This bounce is forced again, where he's pushing into me. Nautilus shows up, so he dies. Right?
Jungle gap, I guess. Jungle gap.
He's slow pushing into hard push, which is what he should do, but then he just dies because of Nautilus.
I'm actually being disingenuous. His argument is not potentially that jungle is broken, it's that top lane is weak. So top lane is weak because he picked a bad matchup and he's now snowballing 1v9. And he has good setups towards his gank or what. Let's say, guys, their support, Camille's support wasn't Sona. Let's say it was, I don't know, Rel or Alistar. let's say it was a tank, right? Do you guys think if Rel or Alistar instead of Sona would have matched the roam here, would have changed the outcome of this setup or this fight? Do you guys think this would have changed anything? No. Do you wanna know why? Because Camille would already have been dying 1v1. That's the difference. That's the thing.
In the meantime, his team is still losing everywhere too.
So therefore it's jungle gap. It's particularly Lilia to blame for this Jhin being a handless degenerate with Ghost and Syndra playing his worthless champion with first strike TP, not being able to provide any pressure on the map. Jungle gap.
This is why top lane feels so frustrating to play for so many players.
Do you wanna know what feels frustrating? I picked Grandmaster on EU West. I have 10 seasons of Challenger on East. I've been playing this game for 13 years. What feels frustrating if I am going to go in a silver game and I turbo stomp the enemy jungler, I'm 10-0-5, I get 3 Drakes. The actual frustrating is a handless Drooler on Garen can just stat check me no matter what I do. A 0-0 Garen decides mid-game to group on the map and he silences me, ignites and ult. And why does he do that? Because he's artificially inflated with levels over me no matter what I do. That's what actually feels frustrating. That's what actually feels frustrating. Having your work, your years, your experience, your knowledge, your gameplay feel invalidated by lesser players with stronger champions. Artificially inflated by Riot. And by the way, I had a solution for this. You guys know. The solution was to reduce top lane experience and add Herald at minute 5. They are doing something similar next season. They are just adding another camp at minute 5 on top side in the Baron Pit. Therefore, that will enable the junglers to have a reason to path top side and potentially do something there while his bot lane is losing, let's say. It enables the junglers to play around top. It enables them to not be totally behind. But you putting the jungler down, artificially artificially deflating the jungler, only means this Lilia cannot do anything to stop the Riven.
Because if player skill is even, you're more so reliant on the matchup that you play and the, I guess, the mercy of the jungler.
Okay. Again, what did Kha'Zix do this game? You could say he started bot side. But what could Lilia do? That's what I am asking. What could Lilia do? What magical button combination would have prevented this disaster of an outcome? Again, if she starts bot side, her bot lane dies either level 2 or level 3. If that doesn't happen, she could still die at her buff invaded by Kha'Zix. If that doesn't happen, she can still have a 2v2 top where she still loses. What can she do? And you know what she loses? She either loses to the jungler in 1v1, or she loses to the top laner in 2v2, or she loses to her bot lane, or she loses to Orianna outscaling her useless Syndra. What can she do?
Right? I would say that Lilia, of course, had a super bad path in this game, and she made a lot of mistakes.
I would love to see Alois climbing on jungle. I would love him to see on a worthless role with useless champions, not inflated by above everyone else, trying to justify a bad draft, trying to justify bad summoners and so on.
But her making
again, what could Lilia do?
Makes it so Druid can play even though he made 0 mistakes. If we look at the stats here after
no, it's not 0. It's not 0. It's just mistakes that they are not aware of or they do not want to acknowledge. Him egoing the Camille pick is a mistake. I would argue them not dodging this game, well, it was also a mistake. But what can you do?
I am 30 CS up and 2 plates and he...
Because this is just a draft gap, bros. Essentially, this is a draft gap. This is not a jungle gap. This is a draft gap. This is the outcome of them picking worthless champs. This is with bad summoner spells. Worthless champs with bad summoner spells. That's the truth. With bad runes. At least if they had fleet, if Jin could take a risk, not take the hook from Nautilus, at least that would have been a chance to win 2v2. They could have at least poked Samira, there was a chance. But with this, Dark Harvest, a rune that you have to farm, where you go eyeball, that you have to farm, that you go, I don't know, another rune on fourth choice in domination that you also have to stack, that you don't have any runes. You don't have any rune at all. What do you do with Jin in this point? Oh, you ghost away and you leave Sona die. You let Sona die. Or you just die anyway. Because ghost is useless early game no matter what. It's useless later on for the reason I explained with Riven getting in a 1v9 position. But hey, this is just a draft gap. And this is a game decided in champ select where this moron went ghost instead of heal or exhaust with fleet. This moron went this useless champion and he didn't even get aggressive setup. They had no chance.
Couldn't do anything about it.
Yes,
and that is why
couldn't do anything about it.
Feels so frustrating to play in so many scenarios.
How does Jungle feel this game? Does he deserve to lose? What did he do to lose?
Again, I understand that top lane is a broken role in terms of items and in terms
No. Last pick was Camille. Sona could have potentially been counter pick.
Like if the champions get ahead, because this game, I'm going to completely...
This guy had Camille as a last pick. He saw his comp, he saw the Riven, and he decided to flip the matchup.
1v9 this game, right? But the issue is that he didn't make a single mistake for me to be in this position. It was more so his
Right. No mistakes.
teammates around him.
Again, he just says that. But he just says that.
Making this mistake.
I've already specified at least 5 mistakes.
Also, I understand that this applies to other roles too. This also applies.
But fundamentally, if he wasn't in such a bad situation, I am asking, why is Riven level 7 here? Why does she get 1v2 in everyone? This is why people complain about top lane.
To a jungle weak standing bot lane or a mid laner having to deal with support role.
If you want more impact on your role, or for it to be more skilled, or to at least be less punished, accept that the role needs to be nerfed in experience. Accept that buffing top lane to be the highest level on the map, buffing champions on top lane to be higher stats, it's a mistake.
However, as a top laner, there's nothing he can do anymore. He can't like randomly go, I mean, I guess he could randomly try and roam bot, or randomly try and roam mid.
Yes, that's the only thing he could do. But since he has a Syndra first strike, a Sona into Nautilus Samira that they already lost, there was nothing to do. And that has nothing to do with the jungle matchup. It's a choice in game design.
But it's so costly for him to...
And the reason he has nothing to do is because he's losing to you. He's losing to you, the 1v9 top laner. He's not losing to Kha'Zix. He's not losing to Orianna. He's losing to you. You're the problem. You're the 1v9 player. And nobody can stop you. And you are just saying that with a straight face that top lane is weak.
To do that, because I would just take the entire turret and he completely flips the game. As a mid laner, you can still, try to invade with your jungler, roam ball.
Where do you still try to invade with your jungler? Where do you do that? You're just bouncing Syndra, Orianna minions, because if you don't pick Syndra, Orianna, and you pick Kha'Zix, Orianna will just if you pick Talon over Syndra, you're just going to let Orianna scale. You kill her twice, he steals 1v9s you. How do you invade? Where do you invade? Where does that happen? You cannot do that. It's just very rarely that you get to invade with the jungler. That's just not true.
Roam top as a bot lane, I mean, I guess
at best you could potentially pick Tristana and cheese Kha'Zix at his Raptors if you jump with W on him and potentially throw him out of the jungle. That's the best you could do.
AD carry, you also have a lot less options, but then again, as a...
Yes, I agree. AD carry has a lot less options.
Jungler, if you're screwed, you just try and gank another lane, or you try...
Okay, he literally did that. He tried to gank mid. You know what you did as a result of that? You flame him for being underleveled. you flame him for being off tempo. He was already screwed, and he tried to do that, and now you're like, well, he should have been top. Yeah, bro, he should have farmed 300 CS per second and be everywhere on the map. He literally cannot do that. He has no options.
Get back. In other scenarios, in a sense, you have more options as a top laner.
And no, it's actually quite the opposite. If your laners provide no opportunities, you have nothing to do. Nothing. You just farm your jungle camps until you get to the point where you can, because you are going to be invaded, and then you just die.
It's 0 mistakes, has no options left.
There were 0 mistakes.
I believe top lane is not that broken.
Yeah, you are just wrong. And I hope people stop defending this useless thought process, this bad thought process. I don't know how anyone could look at this game and think to themselves, man, Riven is so weak this game. Riven is the main issue why they will lose. Riven will be 1v9 no matter what. You cannot say top lane is weak, bro. It's just not true. I'm sorry. And I hope more people see this. The solution for this issue is to nerf back top lane experience and enable objectives on cross side of the map and enable a jungler to have some sort of playmaking potential on top. You have to buff jungle if you want top lane to be stronger. It is what it is. That's the truth, but people don't want to hear that. Do you guys understand? He thinks Kha'Zix deserves to win this 1v9 simply because he jumped into a wave and broke Camille's passive. It's just unreal to me.